meditations today, and I noticed, and I can't remember which hexagrams, but that Joey was talking about inspiration as being something that is almost like a divination that happens in the body.
Mm-hmm.
And then in another part, talked about raw impulse as being dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kind of wanted to hear your take on the difference between inspiration and impulse.
Mm-hmm. It's very easy to tell the difference experientially. Not so hard to describe, but easy to feel. I mean, not so easy to describe, but easy to feel. What is being talked about with the phrase raw impulse means when we are being unconscious or in a state of obsession or worry, and we feel this necessity to act in a certain way. We feel we must, or we're just too uncomfortable. We don't do something, we're just too uncomfortable. And maybe there isn't even that enough time for that thought to arise. Like, oh, I'm so uncomfortable, I just have to, whatever, right? Maybe we just feel this sense of anxiety and discomfort or obsession or worry or need or hunger or something, and we just act on it because we have to like move that energy. That's what's meant by raw impulse. And not only does it feel different than what is being called inspiration, but the aftermath is extremely different. So the aftermath of operating on, raw impulse is more raw impulse. So the aftermath is like you know, if you're addicted to sugar and you eat a holy donut and you feel like for a split second you don't want any more sugar, but then immediately then you want more, right? So the aftermath of acting on our obsessive karmic patterns, whether we do it after worrying about them 100,000 times or as like in a quick unconscious impulse, however we do it, the aftermath is more of the same. And the level of worry and anxiety and obsession and need and feeling just uncomfortable in our own skin doesn't go away. When we act on what is being called inspiration, which is really just on our own wisdom, right? That's what. So there's only one wisdom. I was reading this article today by a fellow that was in Tricycle, a Buddhist magazine, and I've heard of him. His name's Stephen Batchelor. He's kind of one of these professional debunkers, and the article was called something like "We should get rid of Guru Yoga." Because gurus are bad and it creates slaves and it's dependency and anyway, I never could be devoted to my teacher, so I left and they must be bad. That was basically his argument. And the misunderstanding there is, first of all, he didn't actually know what Guru Yoga was, but Guru Yoga has nothing to do with your individual teacher. But there is only one wisdom, right? Whether you want to call it your inspiration, or whether you want to call it tattva, or whether you want to call it ma, or whether you want to call it nature, or whether you want to call it outside or inside, there is only one wisdom, and it just speaks to us in many different forms. So inspiration in this sense means finding your wisdom and following it, hearing your wisdom. And when we think of, or feeling it, or grokking it, when we say inspiration, we mean, okay, we heard it in a flash, we followed it in a flash. It's what Ma called kayal, this improvisational action based on wisdom, or what Chogyam Trungpa called first thought, best thought. Right? And when we act on that, there's a feeling of goodness and gladness, right? And smoothness and liveliness that ensues. So there is a very, very, very distinct, feelable, tangible difference. We all know that, right? We all know that when we follow that inner sweetness or goodness, or external sweetness or goodness, I mean, it doesn't matter whether it's in a teacher or a situation or nature or your heart, it's all the same. It's just speaking to us in different forms. And we all know that when we recognize it and feel it and follow it, our life, we feel a sense of goodness and rightness in our life. We feel like I'm in the right place. Let the cards fall where they may. Right? I'm following Dharma. This is what Ma said Dharma meant. So in sort of more everyday culture, Dharma just means duty. It could even refer to like your job, or it could refer to doing your duty by your family or something like that. Ma defined Dharma as whatever helps you to realize. And in a sense, we don't have to know that much. We only have to be able to recognize our own goodness or sweetness, or have it mirrored to us by someone else. But when someone else is mirroring that to us, we can feel that echo in ourselves, and we can learn to follow it. That's how the teacher-student relationship works. It's all about transmission. What is being transmitted? Access to your own goodness. And most of us have that and can follow it. I mean, you wouldn't be here if you didn't. You wouldn't bother with all this. And the thing about that, a divination, is another way to just find the voice of wisdom and follow. The thing is that if you find it and follow it, you cannot go wrong no matter what happens. And it doesn't mean that things are going to happen according to what you think should happen. It just means the best possible outcome will happen if you follow goodness, sweetness, wisdom. These are all names for the same thing. Even if, for instance, you are trying to follow it, but you mistake something, even if you do that 100% sincerely, there is still an outcome where wisdom is being supporting you, right? Like if you misread a divination, but you do it sincerely and you follow with all your might, right? It's still good, right? On the other hand, if you're anxious and you're divining, and you just sort of tweak and twist the divination in your mind to make it say what you want, and then you follow that, you'll get more anxiety and more tweaking and twisting. It takes courage to follow goodness. It takes courage to follow wisdom. It just takes courage. Because you can't imagine what the outcome's going to be before you do it. When we're in our state of anxiety and planning and worry and obsession and fixation, we have all kinds of imaginings about what the outcome is going to be, and we're going to get what we want, or what we think we want. Or we're going to not get what we want or what we think we want. Like some people also have negative fantasies. But it always revolves around like some fantasy about what's going to happen, and trying to make something happen or try to prevent something from happening. When we're following wisdom, it's like improvisation, as Ma called it, KO. It means improvisation. So you don't know what the next note's going to be. You're just following the sound of presence. The next note is yet to be played. And so there's that sense when you're following goodness and sweetness and wisdom of you're continually winging it. It's one of the things I'm trying to find quotes from my new book to put online. One of them I found was something like, the good news is enlightenment is a total condition of winging it. Something like that. Can't remember exactly what I said, but it's true. You're winging it all the time. And so if you're like too attached to thinking that you know what may or may not happen, it's, you know, it's harder. But if you kind of like the feeling of taking a step into air and seeing what happens, then it's less scary.